process.
Have any American citizens, including children, been deported during your time in office?
We have children that mothers have chosen to keep with them. So those
By my
mothers
count, you have 10 American citizens, including children with cancer, who have been deported out of the country. I understand you're saying it's their choice.
But it's
hard to imagine a small child having a choice. But have you gone after legal immigrants? Again, your standard in your opening statement was the most dangerous illegal immigrants. Does that include PhD students and master's students at colleges across the country, unarmed? Are they the most dangerous illegal when they have status and no weapons?
I don't decide who gets status through a student program. The Department of State decides that, and we enforce it.
Oh, come on.
That's what our Department of Homeland Security does.
I just would offer that, again, I have no...
When Michigan Senator Elissa Slotkin locked horns with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, the clash went far beyond immigration policy. Slotkin, a former CIA officer, called out Noem for overreach so dangerous it could shake the very foundations of constitutional rights. What began as a border security discussion turned into a warning about power, due process, and the limits of government authority.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for being here. You know, Michigan's a border state, so we need each other. We have a very big bridge that's being inaugurated, ribbon cut in September. We need that to be fully staffed. We have a lot going on in Michigan as a northern border state, so we need each other. But what I'm concerned about is that you've taken the mandate to close off the border beyond going after, as you say, the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants. I'm a CIA officer. I worked my entire life to protect the homeland. If someone's here illegally, they need to not be here. They've committed a crime by being here. They need to go back to wherever they're from. But my concern is that either through sloppiness or intent, you have gone far beyond going after the, quote, most dangerous illegal immigrants and gone into legal immigrants who were given the ability to be here, and even American citizens. And when I think about that, you know, there are lots of people in this country, including me, who have families who fled this kind of environment where they have no rights, where they have no due process, where they don't have habeas corpus. So while I'll be the first to say, coming from a state that was won by Trump, that there is a mandate to do something about the border, I think it is absolute dangerous overreach to go beyond that and start picking up American citizens and people who have the legal right to be here, lawful immigrants who have done everything right. So first and foremost, do you acknowledge that your department has made some mistakes, any mistakes, in going after either American citizens or legal immigrants here in the time that you've been in office?
We have not deported any U.S. citizens.
Detained?
Or people get interviewed. If they get interviewed and they go through that process and we find that they're U.S. citizens or legal immigrants, they stay in the United States.
Have you deported
we have to go through the vetting process.
Have any American citizens, including children, been deported during your time in office?
We have children that mothers have chosen to keep with them. So those
by my count, you have 10 American citizens, including children with cancer, who have been deported out of the country. I understand you're saying it's their choice.
But it's hard to imagine
a small child having a choice. But have you gone after legal immigrants? Again, your standard in your opening statement was the most dangerous illegal immigrants. Does that include PhD students and master's students at colleges across the country, unarmed? Are they the most dangerous illegal when they have status and no weapons?
I don't decide who gets status through a student program. The Department of State decides that, and we enforce it.
Oh, come on.
That's what our Department of Homeland Security does.
I just would offer that, again, I have no qualms with going after folks who are here illegally. That is not my concern. That was part of my job, was to prevent people from coming here illegally in a former life. My concern is you're sending a chill down the spine of America by going after people who either have legal status or American citizens. And when my colleagues ask you about habeas corpus, and you say, literally, we can review the tape, that you believe it's a right the president has, you sat here in front of all of us and swore an oath to the Constitution, and that is not at all what habeas corpus is. It is a right that we all get, that American citizens get, that people who are in the United States legally have. So my concern is, it's complete overreach. I don't think American citizens, even those who voted for Trump, believe that you should be able to just grab someone off the street, sloppy, who has the legal right to be here, and certainly an American citizen. And I just am concerned that while you say you're going after the most dangerous folks, what you're actually doing is going after folks for political reasons, right? A PhD student that's
We are
unarmed
absolutely
is
not
not
doing
at the
that.
top
And we're
of
not
the list.
deporting U.S. citizens, and we're not deporting
Well, 10
people
of them
who
have
have
been
legal
deported.
status here.
10 American
If
citizens
the children
have
have
been
gone
deported.
with their parents, it's because
So
their
let me
parents
ask you
wanted
another
them with
question
them.
about cybersecurity. You know, you've cut $500 million from the budget. What specific programs are you cutting? Because there are programs that really aid states and locals that we depend on for cybersecurity. And we know that right now, while we may have good security in the federal government, if you are a local state official, you're depending on the federal government. So have you cut the ISAC program, the program to states and locals on cybersecurity?
The president's recommended budget has a reduction in $491
Does it cut
million.
that program? I've heard the
and what
talking
it's doing
point.
is
Does it
putting
cut the
CISA
program?
back on mission.
And
it's
you can't
ensuring
say that this is the most
cybersecurity is going to be
cybersecure.
strengthened.
You cannot say it's the most cybersecure administration if you're cutting the program to my state and to your state.
It will
and if you
be
look
when
on
we-
record, that's what you've cut. I yield back.
Time has expired. Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Noem, good to see you.
Senator Slotkin starts from a place of credibility. Michigan, she reminds us, is a border state. Trade with Canada, the new bridge opening, security at the northern border is not an abstract talking point for her. And she's not a lightweight on national security. With years at the CIA, she spent her career protecting the homeland. But then she pivots, and her message is sharp. If someone's here illegally, they need to go back. But what you're doing goes far beyond that. She accuses Secretary Noem of taking the mandate to deport the most dangerous illegal immigrants and stretching it into something much darker, targeting legal immigrants, lawful residents, even American citizens. And then comes the gut punch. 10 American citizens, including children with cancer, have been deported. Secretary Noem pushes back, flatly denying DHS deports citizens. Her defense? That when parents are deported, children choose to go with them. But let's stop here. A child with cancer doesn't choose exile. A mother facing deportation isn't offering her kid a menu of options. That's not choice. It's coercion. And Slotkin calls it exactly what it is. Sloppy at best, political at worst. She presses further. Are PhD students with valid status and no weapons really the most dangerous illegal immigrants in America? This is sharp political theater, but it's also substance, because Slotkin is forcing the secretary to confront the gap between rhetoric and reality. DHS claims it's focused on violent criminals. Instead, students, researchers, and ordinary families are getting swept up. Noem retreats into bureaucratic language. Visas are State Department territory. DHS just enforces. But Slotkin doesn't buy it, and neither should we. Because the question isn't who prints the visa, it's why people with valid status are being treated like threats. Then comes the constitutional dagger, habeas corpus. Slotkin reminds Noem and the entire room that this is not a privilege of the president. It's a right guaranteed to anyone in U.S. custody, citizen or not. Slotkin calls out the secretary for previously suggesting otherwise, and she frames it in personal, emotional terms. Her own family fled a place without rights, without due process. America, she insists, cannot become that place. And just when it seems the exchange has peaked, Slotkin pivots again, this time to cybersecurity. She highlights nearly $500 million slashed from programs that states rely on to protect themselves from digital threats. Her point is crystal clear. You cannot claim this is the most cybersecure administration if you're cutting the very programs my state depends on. It's a devastating 1-2 strike. DHS is overreaching on civil liberties while underfunding cyber defenses, a government both too aggressive where it shouldn't be and too careless where it must be strong. And Slotkin frames it in a way that cuts across partisan lines. She points out Michigan went for Trump. Even Trump voters, she argues, don't want American citizens picked up off the street without cause. This isn't a left versus right debate. It's about the government's obligation to uphold the Constitution. What Slotkin exposed in this hearing is a pattern. DHS talks tough about cartels and criminals, but in practice, it sweeps up lawful immigrants and even citizens. It defends cuts to cyber programs while claiming to be the most secure administration in history. It bends constitutional language to justify overreach. that's not just bad policy, it's dangerous precedent. Because once the government normalizes sloppy enforcement, the line between law and politics blurs, and when rights erode, they don't come back easily. If you believe America can protect both its borders and its Constitution, smash that like button. Subscribe for more sharp breakdowns of hearings like this. And drop your take in the comments. Is DHS protecting the homeland or crossing the line?